Well, talk about a bad start of the day. My first run is on the Freightliner, So I loaded a zero-turn scissor lift, and behind it is 1930 blue scissor lift, like regular one. Like this zero-turn, that's the one with the joystick that can spin on one spot. Like very fun machine to drive. And so I came to the pretty much area where I live. This is, I don't know, those buildings, like my building is probably, I don't know, a kilometer further down, north. Like north is this way. So this is the store where I do all my shopping. It's called Chalo or Kelo, whatever, Freshco. It's like a big supermarket. And the only problem with them is that there's not enough people shopping here, and so their produce goes bad, pretty fast. A couple of times I buy some, let's say, peppers, and 2 days later they start getting some, bad spots in them. So their produce does not stay fresh. And then whenever I go buy meat, let's say they have, because it's Indian, right? So they have kebabs, like very nice kebabs, spicy or regular, or kebab meatballs, beautiful. But each time I go there, I look at the expiry date. It's like 1 day away. Again, they're probably throwing out lots of meat because, again, it's not as busy as, let's say, west of Deerfoot Trail, and so lots of produce gets tossed out. But anyway, so I came here, and there's two trucks. And the guy insists that the first scissor lift, the blue one, has to be dumped on the dock. And I come here like 7:35, and there's two trucks sitting, kind of like you see like these docks, but that's a Shoppers Drug Mart. But same kind of truck, right? Like a tractor trailer was sitting. And then another one, see like that red one over there? That's, what is this, Coca-Cola? So two of those trucks were sitting. And one guy just sitting in the driver's seat doing nothing. So I parked in front of him, went over and I said, what time did they open? I thought they closed. He says, no, they open, but only one dock works. Where that white, there was a white truck, kind of like that one. There was a white truck on my right-hand side. And so the Pepsi Cola truck was just parked off to the side. And so I parked in front of him. And we're sitting, nothing is happening, and of course it's a big trailer, no idea how long it's going to be. So I have to text my dispatcher, say, hey, only one dock is working, two trucks are ahead of me. And he says, any idea how long? I said, not yet, because I have no idea. Does he have like 20 pallets, 40 pallets, that other truck? But then my dispatch calls me, and as we're talking, I see the other driver is walking towards the white truck. And I say, hey, okay, driver number one is leaving now, so Pepsi will pull in and I'm next. And he says, well, watch your time. If it's later than 8, then drop it on the ground and go deliver the other one, and then we'll come back later and put it on the dock, and the customer will pay for this. Because I asked the customer, I called them, when I saw the situation, we're not supposed to, basically, our company doesn't like it when we sit like for 10 minutes or longer than 10 minutes, It's all go, 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 go. And so I called the customer first thing, that was my first reaction, and I said, hey, there's two trucks ahead of me, only one dock is working. Can I put it on the ground, somewhere here in this area? He says, oh, no, it has to be in the I prefer it to be in the receiving. So I said, dock height. He says, yeah, dock height. And I said, okay. And so that's what dispatch told me. So now I'm just waiting till 8, 7 more minutes. If this guy does not leave within the next, 7 minutes, then I'm just dumping it on the ground and going downtown to deliver the zero turn. But that's not the only bad thing that happened so far. The worst part is that, I still have to buy my own, coffee, those K-Pods. I ran out. So now each morning, on the way to work, I stop at a Shell station where they have these beans to cup coffee. which is great, except that their cups, hold on, let me see if I can put it in somehow, except that their lids are super flimsy and they don't want to stay, you know, like especially when it's full. And quite a few times, you know, when I'm drinking, it just starts coming off, right? And so as I'm driving, I was sitting at the lights and I took a sip, and this spot where the, where the coffee come out opened like this, and guess where the coffee spilled? It spilled, like, what do you tell people, you know? No, this is not urine, this is coffee, you know. But imagine in the spot. So now I feel like a moron and there's nothing I can do, right? So but these lids, so that's it. So this was the last time. You see how easy it is? Like how easy it is, like it just, you know, when you tilt it like this under the weight of coffee, it just opens up. Like very cheap freaking design. And so I'll continue buying this coffee because it's only like $2, $2.20 for a large cup. But from now on, I'm gonna be bringing my own mug. And actually this way I'm gonna save probably 20-25 cents, you know, when I have my own mug, you know, the travel mug. But yeah, this is just, you know, imagine, right? Like a typical life situation, kind of like what you see in movies. So now there's gonna be big stain over here. Lucky for me, I missed the gym yesterday, so I brought all my stuff today. And also I'm thinking it's gonna be cold. We started at like +3 and it's only gonna warm up to +12. And so I'm thinking, how am I gonna, I don't wanna walk from my car to the gym in my gym shorts. And so I brought sport pants, like track pants. And so those track pants are now in my Jeep at work. And so that's my salvation. So when I come back, there's nothing, well, my home is 2 kilometers away, but you know, the boss says go, 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 you see. So basically by the time I come back, I'm gonna be driving with a coffee stained crotch, and hopefully not too many people get offended. I look like a homeless guy, you know. Oh man. And of course my jacket is, you see, also is wet over here. That's coffee, but most of this was here. Unbelievable, you know. It's, and I'm like drinking like this, and then all of a sudden it goes down. Yeah, only on the left side here for the jacket, and then on the pants. And so yeah, when I come back, I'm gonna, and I just washed these, son of a gun, just this weekend I washed these pants. And maybe I'll use, I have that fabric cleaning thing, spray. Maybe it'll help get rid of this coffee stain, otherwise it'll stay forever. You know, basically I'll have to throw out these if I cannot clean them, because it looks really bad. Anyway, what is this guy doing? Is he leaving anytime soon? Time now is 7:58. So yeah, looks like I'll be dumping it on the ground. I'll wait 2 more minutes. And then going downtown and then coming back, loading back on the truck and back into a dock and unloading. Yeah. And this is Wednesday. It's not even like, what's like usually the worst day of the week? Probably Monday. Yeah, and this is Wednesday, middle of the week. Well, 2 more minutes and I'm gone. Hopefully by the time I reach, I'm gonna turn on my heater on high, and maybe the pants will dry up a little bit. Holy mackerel. You know, like one of those situations. I just saw a movie about this, how a girl, she spilled something on her blouse and her skirt, the same kind of like area, and it looked very bad, you know. So I went downtown, and I already been to that place. It's like a tricky entrance in the back of Winners right downtown of 5th Avenue, but I've been there before many times. First time was confusing, now I just feel like at home. You pull up to the big bay door, the guy calls he calls security, they open the door, you go inside, and inside is like a basement, you know, huge basement. And of course, as soon as I pull in, there's a tractor trailer behind me. And my customer says, oh, maybe pull to the side so this guy can... I said, I don't care about that guy, I'm sorry. I just wasted 30 minutes waiting for 2 trucks at this dock where I'm back in now. He says, I'm with you, I understand. And I pulled to the side actually, and there was still not enough room for that big truck with a 53-foot trailer to maneuver. So he was still waiting for me to drop that 0 turn. So I dropped 0 turn, I moved out of the way to the very far end of that basement. And that guy was struggling, probably a new driver. He was struggling backing because visibility is very bad in there and clearances are super tight. There's like poles everywhere, you know, like it's you kind of like, you're not underground, but it feels like you're underground. It's like a big receiving area for all these stores in there. Winners, and I think they have Save on Foods. So I was glad to get out of there, but getting out is easy. Boom, you jump on 5th Avenue, Memorial Drive, Highway 2 North, boom. And I called my dispatch. I said, no, I called the guy. I said, you still want me to put the lift on the dock? He says, yeah. Okay. And it was dropped. I dropped it over there next to the fence. You see, now I'm sitting here. There's a guy there, and there's a guy behind the wheel. I went over. I said, what the, basically, are you leaving anytime soon? He says, 2 minutes. So I'm guessing, my guess is, since his doors are closed, so he's just waiting. Probably he needs like 30-minute break, you know, according to his logbook. Yeah, like everybody hates, you know, big trucks because it's such an inconvenience. And there's only one dock still working, but there's a dock repair guy at the other dock, so hopefully he'll fix that one soon. And so this guy is leaving in 2 minutes, and since he was there, I'm in this area again. I'm close to my home, and I know all these stores here. And there's a dollar store, Dollarama it's called in Canada, right? We don't have $1 store. I never saw them, but Dollarama is everywhere. And yesterday I was trying to act on a tip from one of my viewers about that lentil bread and split pea bread, but I don't have this. I don't have this thing, right? And so I had chunks, and so I was just mixing it up with water with spoon, and it came out kind of like weird, too soft and too thick, because I used 1 cup of flour with 1 cup of water. That's just too much. It became too thick. Okay, the guy is leaving. I was right, you know, because he did not even get out to close his door, so he was just waiting for his break to be over. So okay, so now we're just gonna, the scissor is on the lift is on the back of my truck. So now we'll just let this guy go and back to the dock and drop off the lift and head home. But it's cool that I had time to buy this. Actually, I was looking at a different one, and then there was a lady there and also looking at some stuff, and I said, hey, is this good for flour, you know, a batter when you mix it up with water? She says, yeah, but don't take that one, take this one instead, the yellow one. I said, why? Oh, because he says on that one the plastic thing falls out, like the little ring that holds. You see, like this is metal, but on the other one there was a ring in here, and she says that ring falls out. So I'm guessing she bought that one before and then she went to this one. And so I'm gonna try again this bread, but this time I'll use more water and less flour and use this thing, so it'll be quality product. And also I bought this at Dollarama again. This is a cool, what is it called, kind of like antibacterial all-purpose cleaner, safe for food, you know, and it's disinfectant basically, because I ran out of that one that, you know, I need to clean the inside of Durango. And so I got paid today by Turo, got $800 for the guy used my Durango for a week. I checked it outside, inside everything is good. The last thing I want to do is I need to drive it, see if he knocked out alignment again. Because there's so many potholes here, right? And last time I had to do alignment on it. So hopefully this guy was more considerate than the previous guy. And then I have to take it tomorrow. I'm gonna take it to the car wash, clean it inside, outside, vacuum it, and then I'm gonna use this with some fabric towels to disinfect the seats and the dash and stuff like that. And then it's gonna be ready. And since it has full tank of gas, I'm gonna use it for Uber over the weekend, because I have no other rental, since I'm no longer interested in renting this car for 80 bucks a day. So I added 50 bucks to all Turo dynamic pricing. So screw them. I'm not gonna rent it for less than 135 bucks a day. And I'd rather use it myself for Uber. Okay, so let's unload this thing and head back to base, see what else they have in stock for me. So I went back to the shop, as they call it. I don't know why they call it the shop, but I'm guessing that's where the things get fixed. So it's funny because whenever I do pre-trip inspection and the book says location of inspection, I always write yard, Y-A-R-D, yard, because that's what you do when you were a trucker, right? So where do you do the inspection? You do the inspection in the yard of a trucking company. Everybody else, all the other two drivers, they write shop. Where did you do the inspection? In the shop. Which makes no sense, because of course shop is the place where they repair trucks, right? But our bosses and everything, they call the place of business the shop, because it's a rental shop, right? So like, come back to the shop, or head back to the shop, or return to the shop. And so I started saying the same thing. So anyway, so they gave me one delivery, one pickup. This is my second trip. I loaded a warehouse forklift, heading down 35 clicks to southeast Calgary, actually outside of 201, so Rocky View County, to deliver the forklift to a guy's warehouse. I've been there 2 or 3 times before, so I'm guessing he has a shipment. He gets like a truck with a shipment, and he needs the forklift to unload the trailer. And then after that, my second stop is pickup. I'm heading somewhere in Calgary to pick up scissor lift. So they let me go home at 3:30. I was supposed to do another pickup, but my boss says call the guy, see if he's still there. It was like 17 minutes away, closer to 16F, pick up some cart for drywall. And of course I was in a pickup truck, and I called them. There's like 2 numbers on my paperwork, nobody answers. So I parked the truck, went back, told my boss, I said, there's nobody home. He says, okay, we'll do it tomorrow. I said, we good? He says, we good, which means I can go. So I clocked out, got into my Jeep, and I didn't do any Uber yesterday, so I cleaned it up, but I cleaned it up yesterday. And so I knew that my Jeep was clean inside. Not so much on the outside, but inside it was good. And so I said, okay, let's see what happens. So I started Uber, and 2 minutes later had a ride offer, which was like 600 meters away, 1/3 of a mile. So I go there, I pick up a young lady that's getting off work, basically adjoining business to where I work. And when I click pick up, it shows me where she's going, and it says Skyview Ranch. And I told her, I said, hey, I live there. So we were both laughing, because it's kind of funny. I said, I just got off work, and sometimes I do this just to see if I can get any rides on the way home. So I made 10 bucks. And yesterday, thanks to one of my viewers for the suggestion with this stuff, so I found at my local place, it says Desi whole chickpea flour. So I tried yesterday, but I had no tools. I was mixing the batter with a spoon, and I was trying to cook it on this small saucepan, which is still dirty. And I probably used too much flour, so it was like this thick in the saucepan, and even after like 5 minutes on one side, or even probably more than like 10, and 5 minutes on the other, it was still like mushy inside. It was more like a cake than a piece of bread, you know. And so I went out today and I bought some tools, right? So I bought this mixer, I bought this bowl, and best of all, I bought this baking carbon steel thing, which is non-stick surface, because I watched videos about how to make socca, S-O-C-C-A bread, socca bread, and they recommended, instead of using a saucepan, baking this. And another secret is that you have to once you mix it up, you have to let it sit for at least 30 minutes, because then chickpea flour will absorb everything. And they said also you can add, I saw one lady, she was using garlic, basically, you know, using this and adding some garlic, and they said you can add some veggies. And so I'm gonna see if I can add small pieces of pepper. You know, it should be okay. Yeah, you see, remember what I said about shallow? See, that's what happens. Like, I bought these peppers, they sit for 2 days and they go bad. So their produce is not good because they don't have enough customers. And I bought this for my protein shake. And maybe I should add a little bit of this for taste to the flour. All right, so let's see how I understand this, right? Probably just, you know, create some not so small pieces, just to add some flavor. Because yeah, oh, and also what I discovered is that since I had too much flour, it was too thick. It was really like a very strong taste of chickpeas, you know, like too strong. So this time I want to use less chickpeas, more water. All right. So garlic is in. So now we're just cutting some pepper. I don't know if that's a good idea, but the video I watched, they said you can add veggies, and actually I bought some cheese that I know I can eat, because that's what they also said. So I bought this cheese, which is lactose free, and I ate it many times before. And once the bread is done, I'm just gonna add slices of cheese to each slice of bread. And I know from experience that this pepper needs about 20-25 minutes to cook, so this should be perfect. Oh, and they said, so yeah, let it sit for 30 minutes so that it absorbs better all the moisture, and preheat the oven to 450 F. So it's supposed to be super hot, you know. And then of course you put some little bit of oil on the pan. And this particular lady that I watched, she did not mention flipping the thing over. because it was baked, right? So baked, there's hot air, and so she just cooked it for 20 minutes. So this is gonna be basically soca with garlic and red pepper and a little bit of almond milk and cheese. So call me crazy. So this is what it looks like. Okay, that's my garlic. So this and this is that stuff. Oh, and I might add some of this stuff I used for this coriander power a little bit. And I have this cumin. Sorry, my camera got slightly drunk because I'm using a very soft, basically it's a stack of my envelopes with my what do you call it, books. So shall I start the oven now, or shall I let it sit for 30 minutes first? Because the oven probably will get to 450 in about 20 minutes. So probably, yeah, let's first do the honors with the flour. All right, so how much do I need? Yeah, definitely not full. Yeah, probably like this, you see. Yesterday I had full. So I'm gonna put this in here. Then we're gonna add water while gently using oh, I love this tool. Really, I feel like a real cook. Okay, and then we're gonna add a bit of almond milk for taste. So this is gonna be an interesting bread. Yeah, I'm so glad I met that lady, you know, that says don't buy that one with plastic ring. Like, yeah, this is really good. Works really great. Much better than with a spoon. Okay, probably I should add a little bit of this. Okay. A little bit of salt. A little bit of Italian seasoning. A little bit of this cumin, but it's very strong, so I'm gonna add just a little bit. And then, of course, they said olive oil, a couple of spoonfuls, and I think that's it. So it looks like this now. So all these tools are from Dollarama store. But yeah, this is definitely way better than with a spoon. It really gets rid of all the chunks. Okay, so last but not least, let's go crazy and put in all this pepper. Okay, so now let it sit there. What's the time now? I have no idea, but we're gonna start the timer. Yeah, 450. 450, and then we're gonna put some oil, just a little bit, on the pan, so that it, I know it says non-sticky surface, but I never trust that one, that marketing slogan. And so we're gonna be ready when, so by the time that one reaches 450, this batter over here should absorb everything. And so imagine this pepper, Italian seasoning, there's this one, right? Then the coriander, almond milk, olive oil, salt, pepper. It's gonna be an amazing bread, you know. And this time I used less flour, and I used full, as you saw, full cup of water plus a generous helping of almond milk. So yeah, so let it basically sit in here. I'm gonna touch it, let it get ready, and then we're gonna pour it in this baby and put it in the oven for 20 minutes. Cool? Well, once the oven preheated to 450, I poured the batter in that tray and set the timer for 20 minutes, and now all we have to do is wait. Well, my timer just beeped, so 20 minutes is up. That's what it looks like. Oh, actually, look, it's not even. Let me just turn this off here. I think it's better. It's better than last time, and it's not stuck to the. See? Well, it's still a bit soft, but I know that it will get harder once it sits for a little bit. And so I'll get it and let it sit for a bit. But that's what I think. It looks amazing, you know, like with peppers. And so yeah, guys, there you have it, you know. I don't know, after I got my own apartment and my own kitchen, I started, you know, loving to cook. Well, I'm doing my first run, and I have 5 stops. 5 stops. So mornings are super busy. So 5 stops. I delivered 2 of those nasty extension ladders. One was 40 feet, so which means that it's 20 feet long because it's double. And the other one was 32-foot ladder, which means it was 16. So the 16-foot one I carried myself, but the 20-foot one, or 40-foot total, I had to ask one of the shop guys. I said, "Can you please help me?" Like, because I had to park the truck, you know, like maybe 30 meters away because there was other vehicles in there from the spot where the ladders were. And so this nice guy, Paul, love this guy. Like, he's so full of energy, you know. Whenever he's walking in the yard, he's just almost jumping, you know. Like, you know, some of these young guys, like, I look at them like, where the heck is all that energy coming from? So anyway, he's always super nice, and occasionally I bring him some presents because he's always helping me. So, you know, with something. And whenever I need help, so I have that nice green tea, right? And so sometimes I give him bags of this green tea. Say, "Hey Paul, I got a present for you." And then the second one was I dropped man lift, you know, the one that doesn't have an engine. Basically, it's a cheap version of a scissor lift for poor people, or when there's not enough space, because that thing is really small, but it's heavy. So drop that one off. That was stop number 2, and then stop number 3, I went to pick up went on 6th Avenue where the Wieners store is, went in the back there in that basement that I was describing the other day. Semi-dark loading docks in there. And picked up again the thing I dropped the other day, the zero-turn scissor lift. So that was stop number 3. And stop number 4 that I just left is I picked up one of our biggest scissor lifts, and it's not coming back to the shop, but rather I'm doing what they call a site transfer. So the customer basically hired us for me to pick up this thing. Let's say what was it, 32nd Street or 34th Street? Basically, they're working on aircraft, and it's all around the airport, right? So I picked up the other day. Actually, I moved it from that location where I'm going now to this location, and now it's going back. So the guy met me there, opened the gate. I loaded this big lift. It's about, well, not that big if you're thinking like heavy haul, but it's like 7,000 pounds. So once I loaded 2 of them, and my dispatch was what? You brought 2? Because basically it was like maybe 500 pounds over what I'm supposed to carry, you know? And so yeah, now I'm heading over to the west side of the airport, and dropping off this one. That's stop number 4. And then stop number 5, I'm going back to that Freshco. Remember where I was, I think yesterday morning? I had to wait there like 30 minutes. And then I left, and I dropped it on the ground, and I came back, put it on the dock. So same place, I'm going back there to pick up this small, tiny 19-foot scissor lift, the one that can go up 19 feet. That's our smallest one, and it's the most popular because whenever people work in tight spaces, especially something like like a retail plaza where the regular doors, let's say it's like a future restaurant, right? And they're working on the interior, on the lights, on the AC, whatever. And so there's no loading dock, so they have to bring the scissor lift through the front doors. And this thing is 30 inches wide only, and also the top folds down. So when you fold the top down, it goes through regular size, doors, like a medical clinic, a restaurant, those kind of doors, right? They're all like maybe 7 feet tall. And so that's our most popular machine, especially this Freshco. When I was inside, it's like boxes everywhere. Like all these grocery stores, it's a nightmare inside. They never have enough space, because there's food products everywhere. There's pallets, you name it. Anyway, so now we're turning on McKnight. We're just south of the airport. And then we're taking the Aviation Boulevard. Yeah, Aviation Boulevard. And the sign on the right says, low flying aircraft, emergency stopping only next 2 kilometers. And actually over here, Hangar Flight Museum, super cool museum. I was there actually when I just moved to Calgary, and I think I was staying at the hotel there on the left, Best Western, and then I found out that this flight museum is or maybe I was still trucking, I don't remember, but the flight museum is on the right, that big white tent, and there's an old fighter jet over there, a couple of helicopters. It's a really cool place inside, and it's very quiet, not many people there. And over here on the right, once we pass this fence, you will see there's I was here before. Some people say, oh, it's the best area for plane spotting. which is BS because you're too far from landing and from planes that land and take off, but at least there's parking. So they created this space, you know, for people to watch planes. Now imagine that in the States, right? In the States, you're not allowed to take pictures, right, anymore after 9/11. But in Canada, it's allowed. There's special viewing area on the right over here. I think it's called Edwards. But I was here and I did not like it because it all depends on the wind, right? Depending on the wind, there's like 4 or 5 runways here, and depending on the wind, they change the direction in which planes land or take off. And so you can be sitting here forever. If the wind is blowing from the other side, you won't see any planes. And I'm turning on Aviation Boulevard, and you see those people over there? Guess who that is? Those are Canada Post employees that are on strike right now. So the other day, I was sent, for the first time since I started working for this company, I was sent to pick up checks. And I'm like, what? And they said, well, Canada Post is on strike, so people usually mail checks, but this way they just sent me and I picked up like 3 checks. And so yeah, now courier companies are making a killing, you know, like FedEx, Purolator, UPS. Because if somebody cannot, let's say, checks, right? It's a bloodline of business. So if people cannot pick up checks themselves, like in my case, right, they send me a driver, then they use courier companies. Of course, it costs much more, but mail gets delivered. I don't endorse this, honestly. I don't understand. If you don't like the job, then just find another job, you know. But these guys, every 3-4 years they go on strike. Oh, and also now we have teachers are on strike, so schools are closed because of those idiots. I think strikes should not be allowed, you know, especially when it's like some vital part of economy, like Canada Post, like mail, or transportation, you know, like public transit, because they inconvenience so many people, you know. A bus stopped there, no flashing light, just the right signal is flashing and the guy is just looking at his phone. No people inside, probably broke down or something. Well, this is after lunch. I just dropped off a small scissor lift here on this East Lake Road, and you see there's a bunch of trucks here because there's no truck stops in Airdrie. This is Airdrie, and so this just reminds me, you know, my 17 years of trucking, you know, how often, sometimes, well, not that often, but it happens, right? Like there's no truck stops or there's no spots left at truck stops, you know. And so you sleep on the side of the road. Like you find a road like this where there's no signs prohibiting parking, and you just sleep on the side. And you're lucky that if there's no noise, you know, because sometimes I had to sleep on the side of the, you know, there was like a pull-out right at the freeway. And so there's so many trucks, even at night. And so it's so noisy, very hard to sleep. And now we're doing a bit of a road trip. I got lucky, so I delivered the small scissor lift to Airdrie, which is north of Calgary, about 15 kilometers. And now I'm going to Crossfield, which is, well, it's like 30-40 kilometers from the airport, but from here it's only 15 kilometers. Oh, look at this. Also like a tow truck with skid steer. this is it. So this is Highway 2 North. Speed limit is 110. Beautiful, you know. Usually cops here don't bother you. Like 120, I was passing a cop and he didn't say anything. Yeah, and it's only 8 kilometers north, and then I think it's like 6 kilometers west. There'll be a crossing highway. Yeah, I see on the right the white sign says 110, and of course that's kilometers per hour, not miles per hour. And then on the right you see it says Crossfield 16 clicks, which is 10 miles. Road trip. Well, anything to get out of the city, you know. Very light traffic, no lights, beautiful. So, I thought I was in the proper building. Turns out, no, it's not the right building. I need 631, and the guy said, well, this is 613. But I got excited because I see all these huge, you know, screens. Like, check this out. All these monster machines. So this is some kind of a dealer for this McCloskey. See, like that machine over there? McCloskey, actually. There's a factory in Ontario, and I was there a couple of times. And they all the same nasty green color. And they have some trucks in here as well. I guess it's their own trucks. Actually, no. The name is different. No, this oh, I'm guessing they're just renting this yard to these people. Because, yeah, this is totally different. Well, look at this dusty Peterbilt, and over there they have some big iron. See, tandem Jeep, a couple of massive trailers, K-Whopper. So that's these folks' truck, because it has the same name on it. Alright, let's go find my place. Like, interesting. The guy says north. So basically, I have to go back north. He says it's mechanic shops over there. Well, I found the place. Turns out, like my paperwork says, big building on the corner. Why not say the name of the business? So basically it was a propane place. Actually, we use their services. Sometimes I went there to exchange some tanks. You know, I bring them empty tanks, and they give us, you know, loaded with propane tanks. And that's it. So the road trip is over. I just need to jump on this. What is this? Range Road 11. But it was like 2A. It's all fields around, like very beautiful. And this is that green place where I was before. And the customer did not leave the key for the scissor lift. So good thing that I have my own keys. By the way, where did I put them? Oh, okay, they're here. Oh, by the way, today is a sunny day, but it was very cold in the morning, so it was 0. So 32F. This is the first time that it went down to 0. But on the weekend, so today's Thursday. On the weekend, like Sunday, I wanted to go for a bike ride or something, but the forecast shows we'll be at -3 in the morning, early morning, and then it goes up to like something like +10, 50F. But the morning is going to be very cold. I don't want to ride my bike, even though I have gloves, but still, -3, it's not very pleasant. So I figured what I'll do is I'll just go for a hike. I have my hiking poles. It's been a while since I used them. I think last time I used them was in England when we went for a walk in the woods with my friend John. And now actually I have two pairs. I have aluminum ones and I have carbon fiber, like new ones that I bought for the trip because I wanted them to be, you know, lighter, and they are folding, telescopic, carbon fiber, very nice hiking poles. And so I think Sunday will be a hiking day. Or maybe I'll hike over to a brewery, because there's one 7 kilometers away from my home, a real brewery. 7 clicks, so it's a bit short for a bike ride, but might be perfect for, you know, a hike, because it'll take about an hour to walk, you know, and then have a couple of beers and just walk back or crawl back. And that's it. I'm heading south on DF4 Trail, Highway 2. So as soon as I dropped off the scissor lift, as soon as I dropped off the scissor lift, I got another run. So this one has 3 stops. Stop 1, delivery. So I loaded a mini track loader, Bobcat, you know, the one where you stand behind. And the paperwork called for a 34-inch tooth bucket. Hooked up the bucket. And this one, it's not quick disconnect, it's just basically 2 levers. Once you pick up the bucket, you push 2 levers, one on each side of the bucket down, and that locks the bucket. So pretty straightforward, they work very well, never any issues. Whereas our big skid steer, like John Deere, for example, quite often it's impossible to disconnect, to detach the bucket when, let's say, if somebody is returning the machine with this extra bucket, right? So what I do is I want to drive on the bed with the machine when the bed of the truck is down at an angle, and then I disconnect that bucket, I leave it at the top of the bed, you know, near the cab, and then I go back down and I hook up the other bucket. But quite often when people are returning, specifically John Deere skid steers, and they worked in some, you know, deep mud, so the mud gets inside the pockets on the bucket, like a very bad design, and it's impossible to disconnect because there's 2 rods are going there, like up and down when you lock or unlock, and so there's too much mud, those rods cannot push through. And once I even I burned the fuse because I was pushing that button, you know, multiple times. It's I think it's the button. It's on the column on the left, and then there's a second, but you have to push 2 buttons. And the second button is on the joystick, on the right hand joystick. And I burned the fuse because there was too much mud. But this one on Bobcat, these mini loaders, works extremely well. So that's going to be my stop 1 on this trip, and it's another like little road trip because I'm driving. It's like 35 kilometers west on Stony Trail, and then northwest on 1A. Basically, the address says Rocky View County. It's not even Calgary anymore, but it's probably just maybe 15 clicks outside of the bypass. But still, you know, it's nice. I don't sit in the office or the shop, like these poor guys over there, I would kill myself if I had to stay in one place all day. I hate it. And then after that, I'm going downtown, where I'm picking up the man lift I dropped off this morning. And then that's stop number 2. And stop number 3, I'm picking up, I think, like a small scissor lift or something. But basically 2 pickups, 1 delivery, 2 pickups.
Take the ramp to Crowchild Trail Northwest, then take the exit toward Crowchild Trail Northwest.
You can see mountains in the distance. A bit smoky, but they're still pretty visible.
Take the exit toward Crowchild Trail Northwest.
So I'm heading northwest on 1A, Crowchild Trail.
Continue for 800 meters.
So I just dropped off my loader. This is a very wealthy looking area northwest of Calgary. It's already outside of city limits. And what they're doing over there, you see, it's a new construction. So they're building another mansion. Like that one in the distance, probably, or like this one. I don't know. Or like that one over there. Very large properties, as you can see.
In 250 meters, turn right onto Woodland Road. Turn right onto Woodland Road.
Now look at this one. Holy moly, it's like a castle with its own little pond and geese. They can probably shoot them from the windows, you know. Just have some fresh goose for for supper. Another new construction. Alright, heading downtown to pick up the man lift. And that's downtown, some 20 kilometers away. Well, just picked up my man lift, and again the coffee shop is still there, right? So, but the guy who gave me free coffee in the morning was not, I did not see him, so there was another guy. So I bought medium-sized coffee, so 12 ounces. For regular coffee they charge $3.15, which is no wonder that the coffee shop is half empty like this. I think there was like one guy there, that's it. But fancy, you know, very clean looking inside, and they have tablets, you know, like he just enters your order on the tablet and turns it to you, like it flips, like it rotates on its base, and then you go through the motions of, would you like to leave a tip? No tip, it's a takeout. And then you just tap the card on the little receiver there, and that's it. So heading to my last stop, which is picking up a small 19 by 30 scissor lift. and it's some kind of a bakery. Google says temporarily closed, and our customer is some kind of a restoration company, so I'm guessing there was either a fire or a flood or something like that. We work with them often. Like the other day, no, I mean the last month, I delivered, I think, a couple of scissor lifts to a place that used to be some kind of a retail store, I forgot, and there was a fire, so the roof fell in, and so these guys were renting our scissor lifts, you know, to work inside. Yeah, sometimes we see some interesting stuff. And this is 12th Avenue Southwest, and you see they have bike paths. Lots of people are not very happy about them. They want to remove them because they reduce the width of the pavement. But yeah, many streets have dedicated bike pathways in downtown Calgary. And that's the man lift. I winched it up because it's pretty heavy to push up the deck, so I just use my winch. And it's pretty easy. I'm gonna do the same when unloading. I'm just gonna lower it with the winch. I finally made it out of downtown. This is Memorial Drive East. So on my way to the last pickup. LRT passing us on the left. So just picked up my last machine, scissor lift, at the bakery over there, and the customer spoke maybe 2 words of English. She says Spanish, no English. And I was just curious. I said, what happened here? Because these guys usually work with some kind of a catastrophe when something happens to a property. I said, fire? And she says, yes. All right. And I said, cool. Fire is cool. So heading back, and ETA shows as 4:36. So, or 4:35, which means I'm getting overtime, time and a half. Because from 6:45 to 4, that's 8 hours 45 minutes. Okay. And any time it's over 8 hours, it's going to be more than 40 in a week, right? And actually, this next paycheck should be really good because we've been very busy in September and October. Plans for tonight. So I have the Durango, right? So on the way back home, I'm gonna stop by the Coin Car Wash, clean it outside and inside, but I don't have any rental customers because I refuse to rent the car for less than $130 a day. It's a full-size SUV. Thank you very much. And so I'd rather drive it myself for Uber and Lyft. And that's the plan tonight. So after I wash it, maybe I'll grab a snack somewhere, and I want to do Uber because I didn't do anything Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and today's already Thursday. I have to make at least like $50, I don't know. And Durango qualifies for XL, which means that I can make more money than with Jeep. But of course the gas economy is worse, but not by much. And also what's happening is that I get warnings from Uber and Turo that my insurance is expiring, but I already have the new insurance. I just the expiry date is like the last day of October, so I don't bother uploading yet. And also on Durango, my inspection expires both for Uber and Turo, because I bought the car in October 24 and now it's October 25, right? So they require annual inspections, and I already know where to do them. I found the perfect place. These guys are open 7 days a week, you know, and the rate is quite reasonable. Basically, I go to Canadian Tire. You know, Canadian Tire, our chain of kind of like supermarkets that are automotive oriented, and they have a service department, and these guys are not every branch, but I found the one that does this. So they do inspections for Uber, Lyft, and Turo. The only problem is last time I did an inspection there, the guy says, oh, we have our own forms for Turo, and they did that, and I said charged me, of course, money, and I said that form to Turo, and they said no, that's not enough. It should have more lines, like more positions that he checks on the car. And so Turo has their own form on their website that I already downloaded, and so I'm guessing that's the plan for this weekend, because this Saturday I'm free. I'm not working at my main job, and so I want to do the inspections in the morning and then do Uber. And here's so I'm driving west on Memorial Drive, and from this angle it's great, you know, to look at downtown, and because you can see mountains there. Well, they don't show on the camera, but I can see mountains behind because that way is west, where the mountains are, you know, which is perfect. I love Calgary downtown, you know, I like looking at it. Okay, heading back to base. So overtime is good.